Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Mac.
And today we're going to give you our first impressions of Micro Architects, which, as you could have guessed, is a micro game. It's quite small here. You can see it's about the size of my hand here, so it's not too large. But I will say, for the size of the box, it does pack a punch. It's pretty much a full box. Mm-hmm. So some companies might have just made an entirely way too large box and put everything in there. But this one was a micro game.
That's true.
And this was one that I backed on GameFound. It looked interesting. I would say the wooden pieces are what drew me in, and wooden pieces always do, especially screen printed ones. Mm-hmm. And we've got there's a bunch of different building types, colors, 6 different ones, and they're all, I think, slightly different shapes, and then they all have slightly different artwork on them. And then there was more artwork. I didn't even remember there being little meeples in there, but there were also those as well, with their own different screen printing as well. So that was kind of what drew me in, along with the fact that it was kind of a lighter, easier drafting game, more approachable family-style drafting game. I always like drafting in games, so I thought, well, maybe this one will be one that can hit the table maybe more often than some other ones. It says 20 minutes per player, and that's probably could be right.
Yeah.
Probably, depending on the game. But yeah, we played this one twice now. The first time, so the game has a few modules in it, and that was maybe one of the reasons I didn't remember the people, is that was one of the modules. And then it's kind of got events, and then there's some other things you can do as well that we didn't do, but we played with the events and the people module in our second play. So we've only played this twice.
So the first run through was just like the base, and then the second run through was with
adding a couple
events and the
things.
people.
But yeah, so I was excited for this one. I don't know how excited you were going into it. Obviously, you didn't know all that much about it, but I guess once I went through the rules the first time, I guess what were your initial thoughts? Were you like, I don't think I'm going to like this. Am I going to like this?
I think I was just probably blank. Like
indifferent.
Yeah, I mean, I think the little pieces are nice and stuff, but I was more so just like taking it all in. I think the pieces were nice. I like drafting and stuff, and then there's set goals that you need to like kind of put them in a certain order or way or whatever. So that part I liked. I wasn't quite sure how the black buildings were going to work, so I'm guessing my brain was just kind of absorbed in what the heck that was about. But looked cute.
Yeah, so yeah, in the game, and you can check out our unboxing video if you want to get a good look at all the components in the box. That'll be going up alongside this, but otherwise, pretty much in the game, you've got your player board, which is a, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 4 double layered board where it's got 8 different kind of city blocks that you're filling in and trying to fulfill different patterns based on those goals that you said with the different colored buildings. And then there's kind of ways to manipulate moving buildings around in your cities and doing all that, filling them in to get these boats, which will get you extra ways to get points. And it's just kind of you'll draft from a set of, depending on player count, a number of buildings. You put one in, and then next person will take their turn. You'll keep going until you work your way through those. And yeah, it's about as simple as it sounds for the actual getting them in there, but the determining how you're going to fulfill patterns, because you've got kind of 3 rounds in the game, and you'll have 2 goals. Everyone will be working towards 2 goals per round. There's other ways to score points too, but those are kind of some of the bigger pops of points, I would say. So if you're not focusing on those at all, you're probably not going to win, I would say. So you have to do decently well at those, but it can kind of be determined a little bit on what comes out.
Yeah.
So. And
then there's, like maybe for one goal you want buildings in a certain way or a certain color, and then for the goal in the next round, well, you gotta have to move those buildings out somehow or redistribute because that goal also wants buildings in a certain color or a certain way or both, So I think that's the interesting part is like, because you can see all 6 of them, so it's kind of like longevity planning for how can I meet all of these goals without like
having to manipulate too much.
Right, because there's no guarantee that your color of building that you're needing is going to be coming out. So if you need 4 red, you might be out of luck if only 1 comes out. And so it's kind of like going through plan A and plan B and kind of trying to find a way to manipulate them without spending too many resources that'll score you points at the end of the game.
Right, yeah. Because, I would say the manipulating piece of it, I think you get just the right amount, it felt like.
Yep.
I feel like if you got too many more wrenches, then you'd just be doing...
Too easy.
Yeah, it'll do too much
Yeah.
moving around. But these, it feels like just the right amount where you still have to be like, okay, is this the best use of it? Because, you're at the beginning of each round, you're getting 2 wrenches, and then there's some ways you can spend your boats, and if you have the Meeples module, you can get some wrenches that way as well. But usually you won't have too many of them to spend, to manipulate. But yeah, I thought when we played the first game, I think there's definitely a simplicity to it. It's on the more family style game weight, I would say. It's not all that many crazy things. You kind of know okay, I can see there's this many of this. This goal specifically wants 2 purple and 2 green with each other, and I can see, and the ones coming out here, we only have so many, so only 1 person is going to be able to do that, if at all. So there's that kind to it, where there's a little bit of luck as to who's going first and when those specific color ones come out, but I think you can kind of work around it with the black buildings. And then there's one of the other actions you can do is there's 6 different buildings on the kind of game board, so to say, and you can swap out with those as well. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility there as well.
I think it has a good balance of simplicity, but also at the same time, it's not just put your buildings wherever you want. You have to manage them well. So it's a good balance of simple actions, but could have long-term effects in the game if you don't play it right.
If you can set something up that'll score you for each of the different things right off the bat, that's going to be really big in the game, and you kind of know once you set them in place how that's going to happen if you don't play with the modules. I will say, when we played the second time with the modules, there are some event cards that can pretty much destroy some of the buildings. Some of them are good things as well, so they kind of can allow you to do some of those swap actions and those types of things without having to spend a wrench, which is really nice. So you kind of get a mixture of some good stuff and you have to get rid of certain buildings in certain areas. So I think that kind of makes it so you have to plan even more. You know what's happening that round.
Yep.
So I like that you see them ahead of time. You know that okay, this is, if I place this here, it's going to get destroyed, or I'm going to have to place something else to destroy that one instead. So I thought that added a little bit more, even another step to it, and kind of brought it to that next level. Along with, I don't know if the people added all that much. I like the bonuses that the people added. I think that was probably my favorite part about them, but otherwise they kind of, I don't know that they did all that much. It kind of, I guess, gave you a reason to pick some buildings over the other. If you had 2 options of black buildings, if one has a person with it, that's obviously better than the one without, because only half of them, when you set them up, get the people with them, and then the other half do not. So sometimes you're giving up people in order to get a certain color building you want. So I guess there is a little bit more thought into it. It's I can get the purple building that I really need, or I could get the yellow building that I kind of need, and it comes with a person, and I've already got a yellow person, so I'll be one step closer to filling that in. But
a little bit of serendipity, though, when you get the color of the building you want with a person of that color that you want.
That's always nice. But yeah, I thought after those 2 gameplays, I'd probably give this one a 7.5, 7.75. I liked it. I think it'll be one that take out every now and then. I think it's simple enough that it's not you're going to totally forget the rules. And even if you do, it's a pretty quick one to read the rules and figure out. And I'd be interested to see kind of, I don't know how interesting some of these modules they have in here will be, but maybe trying these as we play some of our additional games of it, see how those extra things end up working out. I think I'd probably just always play with the meeples and probably the events as well. I guess depending on who I'm playing with.
Sure.
Maybe not the events if you didn't want to have those negative ones.
Yeah, the events can make it additionally difficult to manage the buildings because they'll get rid, like if they're negative, they'll likely get rid of specific ones in certain places or something.
Yeah, either different places or different color or So.
But I don't think it was overly difficult for us, but I'd probably not start with that, and depending on who we'd play with, I wouldn't add it.
I guess what are your initial thoughts? Is it one that you're wanting to come back to a lot, or is it one that you're like, I had my fun with it, only needed a couple plays of it?
Yeah, I guess I'd probably give it like a 7. I guess it's hard because if I say we're gonna pull off a filler game, like I don't know that this is the one I'm gonna choose at this point because we have others that I like better. So it's not a bad game. I think it just in thinking about it, but I think it's good. I mean, it changes things up a little bit. It's quick and simple, and I think what I like most is that it's like travel size basically. So
that's true.
If we were ever going to go somewhere, drive or fly, this would be an easy one to bring, and it's not just like a basic filler game. You can actually like spend time at the table playing it. So I think that adds a nice complexity to how you rank it.
Yeah, that's a good point because this would be a really good travel game just because even when you take it out, the amount of space that it takes up is pretty small.
Probably couldn't play it on the airplane, but you could definitely play it in a hotel room or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Because that doesn't. The main board and the kind of cards and things you can get don't really take up too much room. But yeah, I would think it'd probably be just a little bit too much on the airplane. Especially when you're putting up the stacks of houses out there and stuff.
Hit some turbulence and all your bill.
Right. It is double layered, so they
It
should hopefully stay in there decent. It might shake out a little bit.
Who knows? And then you'll be rummaging around the airplane trying to find your little green guy.
That's true. That would be sad. That'd be a sad day. But yeah, that's our first thoughts on Micro Architects. Like I said, go check out our unboxing video if you want to get a closer look at all the components. It's a lot in the box, I would say. And otherwise we hope to see you on that video. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on our content.